We have to have that relationship transcend the president's office, but at the same time, we should also make sure that this benefits our economy fully.
I'll come to you when we discuss trade, Mitali. But before that, let's also get in some information regarding the war in West Asia, where amid the debate of freedom of navigation and who controls the Strait of Hormuz, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps have now confirmed that 25 ships have passed through the Strait of Hormuz after obtaining permission from Iran in the last 24 hours. So this is an interesting development that has in fact taken place. Let me also rope in Professor Singh into this discussion. Professor Singh, obviously this visit of Marco Rubio comes at a time when India is facing an energy crisis, all because of Washington's doing. They started off the Iran-Israel war. The Strait of Hormuz remains choked. Iran was letting Indian ships pass, but then US decided to put in that naval blockade. So now the global crisis has escalated. So Professor Singh, do you believe that this will also feature in the talks that Marco Rubio will be holding with the Prime Minister, with the Foreign Minister of our country as well?
Definitely, Iran crisis will be figured even maybe in the joint statement by the foreign ministers of the Quad. But when we see the India-US relations during last 15 months, I mean the Trump's presidency, so much ups and downs have taken place. But at the same time, the roadmap of the relations was set with the Prime Minister's visit to Washington in February last year. And during that time, joint statement was issued by the President of United States and Prime Minister of India. That is very comprehensive document to explain the roadmap in India-US relations. And the Indian Prime Minister was the fourth global leader who was invited in the White House. And thereafter, in November, India and US have signed very important document that is the 10 years defense partnership framework. In Kuala Lumpur, the Defense Minister of India and the US War Minister Pete Hegseth. So these two documents are the roadmap. But thereafter, for last 6 months, they were put in the cold. Why US did it? Because US wanted to improve relations with Russia and China and left India because US realized that India is not going to cooperate with the United States beyond certain limit because of its policy of strategic autonomy. So now again, what made United States to reset relations and trying to come closer to India, because US experienced that it's very difficult to improve relations with Russia. China rather more difficult. Of course, there is a mutual interdependence between United States and China, so there cannot be major conflict between the two countries. But very difficult for Trump to show any significant achievement on China-US relations. So now in July there is the 250th anniversary of US independence. So Trump wants to show something on his gadget that I have achieved this thing. So I think that Trump feels and the US administration feels it is better to improve relations with India, or most probably the trade deal will be concluded very shortly. And that is why US wants to cooperate with India in the energy sector, defense sector, and so many sectors. So because the earlier two documents signed last year, they are very comprehensive roadmap. So it's a US interest now. US is interested to reset relations. Meanwhile, India has shifted its
very interesting point over there, Professor Singh. I'll come back to you on this. Let's introduce some more information that is coming our way. Ahead of key Rubio-Modi talks in India, Iran's mission to the UN has accused Washington of excessive demands that are pushing peace talks towards collapse. amid reports that US President Donald Trump's administration is preparing for strikes on Iran if negotiations to secure a deal fails. Ambassador, if I can rope you back into this discussion and understand how you're viewing Washington ties with India and New Delhi and the war that is currently brewing. Do you believe that India can play a role that Pakistan, say for example, has failed to do so over the past 2 months?
Oh, well, India, of course, is in better position, certainly to play a role in this discussion or the mediation which is going on between Iran and USA, because what the Pakistan is doing. But the problem here is that role of Pakistan suits President Trump. Because as we know, President Trump liked to deal in the hyperboles. And also, when he reaches to the brink, he needs help from countries like Pakistan and others to take a step back, which if India is involved, then I think there will be a problem for him. So, though India is in much better position because we have ties with Iran, we have ties with the Gulf countries and Israel, because Israel is the silent player, and USA and Russia. Russia is also an important player. So India can play, but India will be playing an honest, mediator, which will not suit President Trump at the moment. So that is why I think they will consult us when Rubio comes. They will consult us, which was going on, but it will be in-depth discussion. India will also raise concern or issues, the way it sees this dispute which is going on, the manner it is going on. So we will have our views. But when it comes to the mediation, I think it will not suit USA, and India will also not like to entangle if the party is not willing to be the really get help in sorting out the issues. So, but when it comes to the our relationship with the US, I think what has happened will remain. Will not. No countries forget this kind of things which has happened during the President Trump. The reliability as we had for USA last 25 years is gone, and it will take time to rebuild on that. But we should not forget that when we're talking about the strategic autonomy, what we are talking about the options. More we interact with different countries, more options we have, and that is what India is doing. And we have to accept that USA is one of the most important trading partners of India, and we depend on them for business in dollars. So overnight we cannot reduce our dependence. So if the relations, the way President Trump, because President Trump is very transactional, as we all know, so we have to adopt that attitude, but we have to manage that relationship and see that we develop other alternatives over a period of time. It will not happen overnight. That we have to remember.
Absolutely. Some very, very pertinent points raised by you over there, Ambassador. Let me also introduce some more information that is coming our way regarding the war in West Asia. I want to also rope in General Sudhakar ji back into this discussion. General Sudhakar, I want to understand overall, when you look at this summit, 4 days of Marco Rubio in India, a lot of things on agenda. He said he wants to sell energy to India. But India wants to look at bettering of ties. India wants a stable trade architecture. India wants a lot on the defense front as well. As per your understanding, over the next 4 days, what would be the focus for India, and what is something that the US will draw a line at?
Well, Shivani, being a military man, I may sound very offensive, so kindly do pardon me for that. But at the outset, I think I was not heard.
Yes.
I got muted in my last statement. A Deputy Secretary of State Department of United States of America, he attended Raisina Dialogue a couple of months back in New Delhi, And he went on to say that USA will never allow India to become second China. If a deputy secretary of a superpower makes a statement like this and gives out the future objective of USA, what more is left? You have Field Marshal Munir, you know, making noise on the rooftop about hitting India with nuclear bombs from the soil of USA. It is followed by another cabinet minister of Pakistan making similar kind of noise from USA. What more is left? Don't you have any self-esteem? Are we so shameless as Indians? Aren't we a nation to feel proud of? Isn't this a civilizational country? What more do you expect? They have called you as a hellhole. They have said that you are a dead economy and host of other things. What more do you expect? You continue to lay a red carpet to anyone, Marco Rubio, anyone and everyone, and they keep changing stances. Don't we have some depth in our foreign policy and vision? Isn't there any meaning of reciprocity? I am not saying tit for tat. We calibrate. We also should assert ourselves as a nation, a proud nation. Without the United States of America, India will still become a global power. There may be slight delay, but nothing can be denied. We have other like-minded countries to collaborate with. Our Honorable Prime Minister is giving a path-breaking kind of a visionary roadmap. He's laying out the roadmap. He's just back from Northern Europe. We have gone in for signing a treaty and agreement with ASML and Tata Services. That is the lithography, that is the future of artificial intelligence. Without Netherlands, no artificial intelligence or semiconductor can survive and sustain. So therefore, my take on the whole issue is that defense collaboration with the United States of America past 1.5 years, nearly 1.5 years, is more than adequate. We have had a regressive kind of a relationship prior to 2000 or prior to carrying out successful conduct of nuclear devices underground. Thereafter, things have started looking up. It has been a very progressive and forward-looking from 2000 onwards till January 2025. If America thinks that they can do without India, I think India will be rational enough to factor that in and look around for countries with whom we can collaborate so that our national interest and objective of $30 trillion GDP by 2047 or earlier than that is not diluted. One. Number two, Shivani, just give me one more minute. Are we ignorant about the fact that the Indo-Pacific concept, which was revived by none other than Donald Trump in 2017, otherwise it had gone into hibernation, by the way, the Indo-Pacific concept is deadwood now. Don't we know that Indo-Pacific, instead of Quad had lost its relevance. There is no meaning of Quad now. They have gone in for Squad. They have gone in for agreement and treaties with Philippines, and the four countries, Japan, Philippines, Australia and USA, they have formed an alliance so as to meet the expected objectives which had been outlined earlier in Quad. And as of now, the Indian Ocean region has been ignored in the Quad.
Absolutely.
I know you too, not many are speaking or thinking about in USA. It is only India which is making deep inroads and making an all-out effort to have some kind of a counter or a parallel connectivity with Europe. So all these things which had come about during Biden's era are actually in a backbench. They are being ignored by Donald Trump. So therefore, we need to remain alive to these realities and make our states pragmatic and calibrate in a manner so that India's interests are not compromised.
All right. So, recalibration and protect our national security, that is something that we should look at. Thank you so much, General Sudhakar, Professor Singh, Ambassador, and Mithali for joining us with your valuable perspectives on this issue. We are slipping into a short commercial.